So a very good afternoon to all watching this video. This is a live session, and we have our two speakers also available with us today. Manjit Kaur and Tom Keenan from University of Wollongong. And we are having this live session, and there'll be a small link which will be put in on the comment session. If you click that link and go, you can and if you write a descriptive information about how the session was, you will be getting a gift voucher worth 500, 300, and 250. And that's our offers which we are running right now. And coming to Manjit, our first speaker. Manjit is one of our qualified educational consultant at Aussizz Group Brisbane. She's keen in her eyes for understanding all the latest programs and details in various education institutes. She is also looking to provide the best solutions for her students, utilizing their knowledge as well. She works for the betterment of the students' career by considering the future prospects and the industrial recruitment. And also, we are joined with second speaker, Tom Keenan, the Global Student Recruitment Manager of University of Wollongong. So over to you, Manjit. You can start off the session.
Social work is an academic discipline and practice-based profession that concern itself with individuals, families, groups, communities, and society as a whole in effort to meet basic needs and enhance social functioning, self-determination, collective responsibility, optimal health, and overall well-being. And there is a stunning job growth in the social work, that is 28.2 job growth expected in this sector over the next 5 years. And NDIS is a very critical to the Australian with the way it looks after disadvantaged citizens, dive in endless opportunities with a career in a social sector. And the social work sector offers a diverse range of job opportunities that will enable you to make a difference in many people's life. Study benefits of social work. Basically, you can create a real difference in the people if you study this course, and there is a competitive earnings compared to the non-tech occupations, and it is one of the qualification. There are variety of roles. If you study this qualification, there are a lot of job outcomes after that, and you will get a different job opportunities after that, and you will get opportunity to work as a flexible hours. You don't have to do particular hours. I mean, you can do job. I mean, you have flexible working hours, and there is a very good personal growth in this occupation. So with the create a change in a people life, you can do your personal growth as well by choosing this occupation. And there are different job outcomes of studying social work course. After studying social work, you can work as a support case officer and youth worker, counselor, child protection officer, community officer, social welfare worker, and refugee advocate. With just studying one course, you can do different jobs, and you have different opportunities to do jobs. So this course is really good for you guys. And if we talk about the growth of this sector, there is a huge growth in this sector. Social sector provides essential care and support to over 1 million people each year, including those impacted by poverty, homelessness, domestic violence, mental health challenges, disability, or other complex issues. And in 5 years before the COVID, there is 1 in 8 jobs created was in a social sector. So there is a huge demand of social sector. The social sector employs over 20 to 30,000 people with annual economic output worth $15.4 billion. This is a huge impact on economic. Over the 7,800 organizations operate in the social sector, basically in New South Wales only. And social sector will demand an additional 62,000 jobs by 2030, including 27,000 in regional New South Wales. So 1 billion net investment in care industries by governments could lift economic activity in New South Wales by 10 billion per year through direct generation of jobs and bring up informal careers to the participate in the labor market. The economic growth of social sector. As you see, there is a huge growth of social sector. If you study this growth, if you see the graph, there is an increase in the social sector jobs, but in other sectors, there is a inclination and declination. But social sector, there is a constant growth of jobs in this sector. And the job market in regional areas, as we all know, that government is focusing on regional areas nowadays. So growth in recruitment activity has been strongest in regional areas. Job advertisement have been increased by 51.1% compared with the levels observed prior to COVID-19. But after COVID-19, obviously there is a growth of these jobs as well, because it impact this COVID-19 impact the social sector a lot. And community and personal service workers have recorded the strongest increase in job advertisement over the 3 months since the Delta outbreak of COVID-19, up by 48.6%. So it's kind of 8,700 job advertisement in the social sector. So it is a table of key social sector occupations, which are vacancies available in the key social sector occupation as per the region in the New South Wales. So if we talk about the growth in the vacancies from January 2016 to January 2021, Blue Mountains, Bathurst, and Central West New South Wales, there is a 224% of growth, increase in the job vacancies. So, and Western New South Wales and Dubbo, there is a 168% of the growth in the jobs from January 16 to January 21, which is the last 5 years. And Luara and South Coast, there is a 118% job growth. New South Wales North Coast, there is a 183% of job growth. Newcastle and Hunter, there is a 138% of job growth. And Riverina and Murray, there is a 441% of the job growth. Southern Highlands and Snowy, there is a 139% of job growth. Tamworth and Northwest New South Wales, there is a 119% of job growth. So this table basically shows that there is a huge job growth in the regional areas everywhere, especially in the New South Wales. There is a demand of social sector, huge demand. After COVID, it increased. It was there as well, but after COVID, there is a huge demand. So 5 years industry projection for this growth. Future growth is very strong in this. Labor market information portal states that there is a stunning 28.2% job growth expected in the social work sector in next 5 years. So as per labor market information, employment level may increase up to 14.6% to 17.7%, and projected to increase 17 of the 19 board industries in next 5 years. Salary range. So there is a huge package for social sector. So most common annual package is 65K to 75K annually, and which is weekly around $1,300 to $1,500. So around that. So there is a huge salary in this sector. Thank you.
Just let you know when I know. Sorry, I'm from the University of Wollongong. And today what I'll be doing is presenting to you about the University of Wollongong in a general sense. And then at the end of the presentation, I'll be talking more in depth about the Master of Social Work, and even zooming in on the Master of Health Informatics, which is another really quite interesting course that we've got going. Okay. For those of you who haven't been to Wollongong, it's in a regional area of Australia. So when we think about studying in a regional area, often we're thinking about wearing denim jeans and flannel shirts and Blundstone boots because it's a rural area. That's not the case with Wollongong. Wollongong is quite different because it's a coastal area of Australia, and it's relatively close to Sydney. So it's with Wollongong, most of our students study in the 3 campuses that are across Sydney, Liverpool and Wollongong. So our Sydney campus is the postgraduate business campus. And are you able to make that a bit more full screen, or is that the best we've got? So we've got the 3 campuses in Sydney. We've got Sydney Business School, which is in Circular Quay, looking out over the harbour, sensational location. And that's for our postgraduate business school. Then we have the Liverpool campus, which is near Liverpool Station. And from downtown Sydney, it's about 35 minutes on a train. And we do have the Masters of Social Work qualifying at that campus, along with a whole lot of other courses. And then the main campus we have in Wollongong, and that's considered a regional campus for the purposes that a lot of students are interested in. But we're not just a domestic university, we are a global university, and we also have campuses in Dubai, in Malaysia, and in Hong Kong. So if there are any students who are tuning in from offshore today, and you are close to Dubai, that's always an option to be able to study part of your degree there and then finish the rest of your degree in Australia. And anyone who does that at any of our offshore campuses gets a 25% discount, which is really good. Can we go to the next slide, please? Scroll down. Okay. And for those of you who haven't been to Wollongong, it's a really pretty city. It's perched between the Pacific Ocean and the Illawarra Escarpment, escarpment being a small mountain range. And so Wollongong is sort of nestled along that stretch of coast, if you like, and people live between the mountain and the sea. And the university itself is perched underneath the mountains, and everything's really easy to get to. And it's sort of like a snapshot of Sydney in a smaller place. So everything that you've got in Sydney in terms of your cultural identity and food and arts and entertainment and sport, it's all there wrapped up in a smaller city with a great climate as well. So we have about 300,000 people. If you could go down one slide, please, that'd be great. Okay, so here's a couple of pictures. On the top picture in the middle there is on the campus at the university. The best way to describe the campus of the university is it's like a rainforest with buildings in it. And then as you look down over Wollongong, that's the one on the left, that's from the Mount Kira lookout, looking out over Wollongong towards the ocean. And that's sort of the hinterland, I guess. And then on the right-hand side, that's your local town beach. So that's the South Beach in Wollongong. They're truly stunning beaches, and unlike Sydney, they're not crowded, and unlike Melbourne, they're warm, and they're really pretty. So it's actually the best of both worlds. Really, really nice place to be able to live and study. If you can scroll down one more, that'd be great. In terms of affordability, Wollongong is one of the best places in Australia to live from that aspect. I'll show you later a map which shows you all the buses that go around town, but we've got free transport around town, and it's not just for students, it's for students and for their parents, for anyone. I can go on it, anyone can go on it. So we've got free buses going around town. The other thing is when you go from Sydney to Wollongong, they still use a metropolitan train service, which is more affordable than regional trains. So it's a cheaper form of transport. It takes about an hour 20, an hour 30 to go from Wollongong to Sydney proper. Some students live on the south side of Sydney and commute to Wollongong, but many more live in Wollongong itself. Okay, next slide, please. And like I said before, it is a little snapshot of Sydney. So everything that you could think of in terms of your food and conveniences are there. And you can see just a little bit of a snapshot of what's available there. Things like a lot of Asian students or South Asian students love their share tea, their Asian supermarkets, that type of thing. So it's all there. There's halal food there as well. Okay, next slide, thanks. The university itself is home to 35,000 students. 15,000 of them are offshore and, are international, but many of them are offshore in our campuses in Hong Kong and Dubai. But for a young university, we do have a lot of alumni. So it's a very popular university. And typically when you think about the university, it's considered as number 10 in Australia If you go to the next slide, that'd be great, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So it's a top 200 university in the world. It's a 5-star university in the world. It's really highly ranked. It's top 200 for ARTU ranking. If you go to the next slide, we'll be able to see some more specific subject rankings. So you can see we're top 50 for mining, engineering, top 75 for material sciences, computer science and engineering, really highly ranked. If you want nursing, that's highly ranked as well. But yeah, a lot of really highly ranked degrees that we've got there. Okay, next slide, please. And then, of course, accreditations are really important to international students. Some of them would be very familiar to you, things like ACCA, Australian Computer Society. Maybe the Group of 8 one is, maybe you probably heard of the Group of 8, universities like Monash and Melbourne and UNSW, but actually we are a Group of 8 member for engineering. So that's because we're so highly ranked in engineering. We're also an AACSB accredited business school, which puts us in the top 5% in the world. And we are having SAS accreditation, or SAS accreditation. And if you go to the next slide, I'll show you what that is. So SAS accreditation is for business analytics. And if you get a Master of Business Analytics with us, you will get SAS accreditation in addition to your normal degree. Okay, you can see the name there is Jack Ma. That's not Alibaba's Jack Ma, but we do have a Jack Ma at our business school, so we've used his name. Okay, next slide, thanks. So you can see we have the Sydney Business School, AACSB accredited for postgraduate studies, overlooking the Opera House. If you keep on moving to the next slide, we can see the courses that are available there. So we do 2 masters in 2 years. And typically what you'll do is your first degree, you'll get 6 common credits that go towards any of the masters there. So in that way, you can finish 2 masters in 2 years, which is a really good thing to do. It's important that you have a 2-year degree when you're studying in Australia. That helps you with your post-study work. So that's really good. Next slide, thanks. Okay, we have the Southwest Campus, and that's in Liverpool, near Liverpool Station. It's a really culturally diverse part of Sydney. So you have lots of different nationalities living there, whether you're looking for halal food or a banh mi or a pho or a nasi goreng, it's all there. And the sort of courses that we offer there are popular for international students. If you just scroll up a little bit, you'll be able to see a couple of the other courses that we've got there. Yep. Oh, go back down, please. Oh, thank you. Okay, so you can see that we've got lots of business courses there, IT, nursing, social work, health leadership and management. And we've even got some pathway courses here too. So if there's anyone who's a bit younger and wants to do one of our diplomas that lead into the bachelor, that's cool too. All right, next slide, thanks. So as a university, we're what we call a comprehensive university. So everything from arts and business right to medicine, science and law, we've got everything there. Basically, if you can think it, we've got it, or something very similar to it as a comprehensive university. Okay, next slide, thanks. And we are a home to world-class research. So we have a couple of research centres on the campus, or more than a couple. I'll give you an example of a couple of them here, though. We have the Early Start Centre, and this is actually a childcare facility where we have real children from families, staff members, families coming in to be looked after there. But we also, we teach children there, but we teach our students there how to teach children and how to implement curriculum there. So it's a really good hands-on space that helps both the children and the students at the same time. Okay, next one, please. We also have the Australian Institute for Innovative Materials. This is in Wollongong. It's not on the main campus, but it is in Wollongong, and it's on the beach. Really top-looking campus. We've got a lot of equipment there, a lot of labs there, that really what they do there is they make products, they fabricate products, which then go into the commercial world. So they make them for a commercial application. And there's some great examples within the Innovation Centre of things like building PPE, electronic ticket sales, water purification systems. There's a wonderful company there called Droppoint, and they do software logistics, and they have drop points all over Australia for companies, particularly companies that have field service technicians, and they will drop equipment all over Australia. So basically it's transport logistics for companies who need to put things all over Australia to service in the field. Now, why am I telling you about that? It's because we have asked many of our students come and work in these companies on the campus, and they're getting good money. So they're getting like $70,000, $80,000 a year, either while they're studying, getting that paid pro rata while they're studying, or when they have their post-study work, they're having full-time jobs there. So at that particular company, there's about 3 or 4 students from South Asia. There's 1 student from Vietnam who are all there working on the innovation campus and, you know, carving out a really great career for themselves. Okay, thanks. Again, another research centre is the 𝐬𝐴NCAUSE Centre, and this focuses on marine protection, the blue economy, ocean law and piracy. Some pretty interesting stuff, and, you know, things that are crucial to our future in terms of food production and protection of the natural environment. Okay, thank you. Now, a lot of you will be interested to know whether we've got scholarships or not. I'm happy to say that we've got 2 types of scholarships. One of them is merit-based, and the other one is, well, it's nationality-based, but actually it goes for everyone. So no matter who you are, you're going to get a scholarship from us. The very minimum is 20%. Okay, so it doesn't matter what country you're from, you'll get a 20% scholarship towards your studies. But if you have got better grades, i.e. a distinction and above, you're going to be able to get a scholarship of 30%, and there's no additional process that you have to go through. It's automatically assessed when we see your grades and you go through the application process. Now, in terms of your, oh, can we just go back up to the school fees, please? Wrong way, sorry about that. One more up, please. Thank you. Thank you. So this gives you an idea of our tuition fees. We actually haven't put up our fees since 2019. So 2022, they're exactly the same. So it's really quite affordable. And if you combine that with our scholarships, it makes for a really good proposition. And obviously combine that with our ranking, the location, the regional location, it all makes for a really sound proposition. Okay, thank you. For students who are studying in Sydney, we have a lot of colleges that we work closely with, and we have credit transfers. But even if you're not in Sydney, if you're in Melbourne or somewhere else and you've done previous studies, we're more than happy to look at what you've done and assess your qualifications on a case-by-case basis. Okay, so often you'll find students are getting 6 months to a year off their degree from previous studies, which is really good. All right, thank you. Okay, before I said there's some transport routes around Wollongong that are free of charge. If you just scroll up a little bit, that'd be great. No, the other, sorry, the other way so I can see the map better. Thank you. So you can see that map there. We've got that red route, the red route going around the map, and we've got a blue one and a black one. Those are the routes of our free buses that will take you all around Wollongong. So it's really easy to get around Wollongong. And from the main campus to the beach or the downtown only takes you about 10 minutes, probably about 10 minutes to the downtown, another 10 minutes to the beach. Everything's really accessible and easy to get to inside Wollongong. And it's one of those places that just has a good vibe about it. The people are friendly, they're relaxed, and they're welcoming. So it's a nice place to be. All right, you can keep scrolling, that'd be great. Life on campus. Before I mentioned that Wollongong is like a rainforest with buildings, but it's also a bit like an American university. So for any of you who've been to an American university, they're really big and they're the lifeblood of the community. So within Wollongong, everyone has a connection to the university, whether they're supplying food or services, or they've graduated from the university, or they might even be teaching at the university. Someone has a connection to the university, and it really is the #1 business in the city of Wollongong. And it's the lifeblood of the campus. People support the university. They're proud to be part of the university. Okay. And everything that you could possibly need is on the campus of the university and available for you, whether it's you need to go to the doctor or the dentist, or they've got a supermarket on campus. They've got an IGA supermarket. They've got a big post office, massive library, Olympic-sized swimming pools, huge gym, massive sports ovals, the whole lot. So if you can think it, they've probably got it, and so many different clubs and societies. Okay, thank you. We also have great academic support. So when you study with University of Wollongong, even after you graduate, we give you 2 years of access to our careers support service, and they'll help you put you in contact with jobs, put you in contact with mentors. We also do something called the UOW-X Awards. And what that is if you get involved in extracurricular activities, we will keep a record of all that, and you'll get that at the end of your degree. So in addition to your normal degree transcript/certificate, you'll get this co-curricular record, and you'll be able to show that to your employer. But I guess more importantly is the activities that you do in it: leadership, innovation, creativity, public speaking. Those are things that you can generally use when you come to get a job. And it's not just about having the piece of paper, it's actually doing it and learning how to collaborate with people and how to work together with people. Okay, thank you. In terms of the key dates, our main intake is in February. We have an orientation starting on the 22nd of Feb, and the commencement, or the first day of class, is on the 28th of Feb, and the census date, that's when you need to have paid all your fees by, is on the 31st of March. So that's a sort of typical schedule for the key dates, yeah? Okay, I'll get you to scroll down a little bit more, and we'll have a look at the Master of Social Work. Okay, just scroll down a little bit more if you could. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for the introduction earlier from, I'm trying to get the name there, but thank you for the introduction earlier on social work. It really is one of those industries that's highly in demand after 2 years or so having the pandemic. Social work's never been more important than now. A lot of people have been affected adversely by the pandemic, so there's a lot of challenges in the community. So having a course like this and careers in social work are really important at the moment. So with us, it's a 2-year master degree. It's taken over 96 credit points, 48 credit points per year, and you have 2 sessions per year. So before I said our intake was in February, so that's the first session. First session's in February, and then the second session is in July. Okay, so you've got those 2 sessions a year with 24 credit points in each session. It's pretty straightforward. And then we have our main campus, Wollongong campus and Southwestern campus, as the places where it's on offer at. You do need a 7 in order to be able to come into this program. So an IELTS of 7 with 7 in all sub-skills and you need to come from what we call a cognitive degree, so a degree that's related to social work. And you can see some examples of that: arts, community welfare, education, nursing, psychology. Those would be the type of degrees that we'd ask you to apply from. If you don't have the IELTS, it's possible to take some English with us through our college, so University of Wollongong College. And this program's only got a February intake, and you can see the course fees there at just over $60,000. Okay, if you could scroll down one, that'd be great. Now, what are you actually going to study? In broad terms, what you study in your master is communication skills, interpersonal, social work concepts and methods, social justice principles, community engagement skills, and then you'll also have a placement in a human service agency. We'll help you with that placement. We'll make sure that you get something that fits you, but it is up to you. So while we'll help you with the placement, we're not just going to give you the job. You've actually got to apply for the placements, and we'll help you go through that process. So it's not just a no-brainer to be able to get that job. There is a process that goes with it. Okay, if you could scroll down, that'd be great. Okay, just scroll down a little bit more so we can see. Yeah, that's great. Thanks so much. So you can see here in year one, in the autumn intake, so when we say autumn, we're talking about February, you've got your 24 credit points there and the sort of subjects that you're taking there: social work practice, human service systems and policy. Then in your spring intake, you've got law, ethics, you've got your professional practice placement, the first one, and that's 12 credit points, so that's like a double subject. And then we've got working with young children, people and families. Okay, if you can scroll through, that'd be great. And then we've got year two, and you can see a similar sort of setup. And obviously, this being Australia, we do have a section on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities. And then you can see there that we've got the professional practice, the second version of that, and research methods. And you've got your placement of 1,000 hours. So that's over the 2 years. So you've got 500 hours in the first year and 500 in the second year. So that'll get you through the 2 years of social work. Okay, if you can scroll down, that'd be wonderful. And I know we talked about it a little bit before, but in terms of the sort of career outcomes that you'll get, or the areas that you'll be working in, it can be things like drug and alcohol counselling, disability, family violence, homelessness, refugee, asylum seeker services, youth justice, criminal justice. So there's a whole range of areas that you can go into, and you'd see that the salaries are pretty good as a starting salary. If you can scroll down, that'd be great. So yeah, 87,000 is a great starting salary, but similarly, I've put some examples of salaries or advertised jobs out there for social workers, senior social workers, and you can see that they're getting up to the 6 figures. So they're over $100,000. Obviously, some of them will need a little bit of experience, so you'll need to have a few years in the field before, pardon me, before you're attracting that type of money. But it's actually a really lucrative trade. And if you are working in the government, typically when you work in the government, you're getting better superannuation too. So typically when you work for the government, instead of getting the standard 10 or 11%, you'll be getting a 17% superannuation. So going for those government jobs can be really good too. The titles, sorry, if you just scroll back up, the titles that we've got there that you'll be working as, things like healthcare social worker, social work teacher, clinical social worker, child and family social worker. So those are typically the sort of things that you'd be doing. Okay, so that's for social work. I thought it'd also be useful to give you a bit of information about health informatics, because our social work is only available in February, and that intake's really close. But health informatics both has a February intake and a July intake. So let's just have a little look at that too. Okay, so health informatics, this is for people who've come from a nursing or a health background and they want to work in the health system. So it can either be in the government, in a hospital or a private hospital, and it's problem solving in the health industry. So if you think about what we've been through in the last 2 years, it's been really challenging for the health industry in terms of staff being burnt out and wanting to leave the industry, in terms of the sort of equipment that we need, the PPE that we've been needing to look after people, ventilators, ambulance wait times, a whole range of challenges that have been presented to the industry. So the idea of a course like health informatics is that we combine both knowledge of health and IT in order to be able to solve problems in that industry. So to understand what is the demographics of the catchment area that we're servicing, what sort of people do we need, what sort of equipment do we need, what sort of policies do we need in order to service our catchment area effectively. And, you know, there's a whole range of things that they could need, whether it's, you know, like it says here, vendors or telecommunications providers, pharmaceutical companies, types of medicines that you need, a whole lot of things. But really interesting course. It's a bit of an alternative to what a lot of students are looking at. So typically students in Australia are looking at things like nursing and social work and psychology. So this is something that's just a little bit different. Again, it's a 2-year master, 96 credit points. It's got the 2 intakes and it's on our main campus. But you do need to come from either an IT or a health/nursing background. Okay, can I go to the next? Yep. Okay. And it's got really good salaries coming out there. So you can see entry level comes in at about 80 grand and right through to $140,000. And if you put your superannuation on top of that, it's really quite attractive. The sort of roles that you go into, health informatics specialist, health informatics consultant, chief medical information officer. So some quite senior roles and probably really interesting roles too. Okay, I think that's where we'll leave it, and I'm happy to take any of your questions that you might have. Yeah, open the floor to questions, and thanks so much to the people at Aussizz for helping out with the technical difficulties. I'm sorry that you know, that didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but I really appreciate the fact that you're able to sort of improvise on the day.
That's all right, Tom. So yeah, we had a small technical difficulty, but yeah, fortunately we could get the file on time and play it on time. That's all right. So we have few questions. Is it possible to work in government if we are not an Australian citizen?
That's a good question, and it's probably not one that I can answer right now. I don't know. Have you got anyone who's a Mara person on the line today?
Right now, migration agent. I don't think we have a migration agent online. Manjit, would you be able to answer that question? With best of your knowledge.
Yeah, Godwin, actually, unfortunately, no, because that question can be answered by a Mara agent if we can. Because as far as I know, they need to be Australian citizen, but I'm not sure. So unfortunately, I can't comment on that.
So, Van, I'm extremely sorry. I don't think we can answer that question for you. So the second question by Shah is, I have completed my bachelor's in food and nutrition. Can I do master's in social work?
Done in food and nutrition, master's in social work. That's an interesting question. Whether or not that's going to be related enough, my feeling is that it's worth having a look at. It's also worth telling us more about your overall background and whether or not you've got other work experience. So it's worth having a look at. It's worth a try. it's not. It's sort of a bit off center, but it's worth having a look at.
All right, all good. So yeah, this would be the end of the session, I guess, because we don't have any more questions. So is there anything, Manjit, you want to add to?
Yeah, so I would like to let you know that there are huge job opportunities for the Master of Social Work, and if you want to do a change in person's life or along with the personal growth, so start your career with the social work. There are courses available in different universities, and as previously described by Tom, that University of Wollongong also has courses of social work. So if you want to do this course, please inquire us, and you can contact us and put your queries, and we will help you to get admission in that.
Manjit, can I ask, do we know the demographics of the people who are on the call today? Are they mostly in Sydney or Melbourne or offshore?
Sorry?
Do we know the demographics of the people on the call today? Are they mostly in Sydney or Melbourne or offshore?
They are from, because it's event is organized by whole branches, so they are from offshore and onshore as well, and from all states. The joiners are from all states basically. There is no particular thing. They are from all states and from offshore as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
There's one more question up here. So how about employment prospects for postgraduate visa holders? So this is regarding social work. So
for employment prospects, they can work as a social worker. Once, like if someone has done social work, they can get the skill assessment obviously, and they can work as a social work or as I described before, counselor as well, and youth worker as well. So there are opportunities for them, and particularly because I mentioned before, because of COVID as well, there are huge opportunities in that. So there is a good demand of social work. They can apply there, and there is a good chance that they will get a job.
I think, Tom, you wanted to add something to that?
No, I think you covered it perfectly, actually.
Yeah, all right. So do you want to share some experience about the social work industry in Australia?
I think, like we said before, like Manjit said before, it really is one of those areas that's exploding at the moment because of what we've been through in the last 2 years. People are struggling, both personally and professionally. So it's a good time to be in here. It's an in-demand occupation, and you can see from the salaries that it's, it's something that you're going to get a return on investment on relatively quickly. But it's not for the faint-hearted. So you really do need to be committed to this profession in order to be successful. You've got to have what we call intestinal fortitude to be successful in this. So you've got to be able to deal with real life issues, with real people who are struggling, who are challenged, people with disabilities. So it's not just a ticket to stay. This is a real deal. This is something that you have to commit to. You have to be really serious about and really embrace it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. Thanks a lot, Tom. Thanks a lot, Manjit, as well. So after this, we have 2 more sessions running. So I have posted the link below. So people who are watching, if they're interested, you can go and click the link and register for the upcoming sessions. And I have posted the link for the Facebook as well. So you can click the link. You can write your descriptive information and tag Aussizz Group and Education Summit 2020. And you'll be winning a gift voucher worth 500. All right. Thanks a lot, Mr. Tom and Manjit.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This will be the end of the session. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.